Okay, this is something that's kind of old news, but it's something that I thought I'd talk about briefly. Cyberpunk 2077 is definitely getting a sequel sometime in the future. I believe the game was confirmed to be in development not too long ago. We have no idea when this game is going to come out, and I'd be shocked if it came out before 2030 because we all remember how long it took for this game to come out before it did. Because I believe Cyberpunk 2077 started in development back in 2013. It was in developmental hell for the better part of the teens decade before it came out in 2020. And even when the game first came out in 2020, it was a buggy mess, and the game got panned and heavily criticized before CD Projekt Red had patched up everything and fixed everything up. And ever since it got patched up and everything, the game has it's been seen as one of the more popular RPGs of the past decade or so, and a lot of people like various things about the game, including the visual presentation, the fact that it had 5 different endings. You had 3 different classes of people you can choose from Street Kid to Nomad to Corpo. And along with the fact that the life path you chose and decisions you made in the game determine what type of ending that you got. Now, as far as the sequel is concerned, I'm not exactly sure what to expect, and I don't think CD Projekt Red could tell you too much about it. The only thing that we know about the game so far is that pretty much the sequel is codenamed Project Orion, and I do feel that this upcoming sequel is going to be one of the most anticipated games of the teens decade, alongside Grand Theft Auto 6, and we don't still have an official release date for that game yet either. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, the sequel, is currently in development, and I doubt we're going to see any gameplay footage or anything like that before the end of the year because I believe the development just started, and I do feel that it does feel kind of early for, I guess, CD Projekt Red to come up with a sequel or to start working on a sequel because this game just came out, and there are certain video game companies when they release a video game, they wait a couple of years and then they work on a sequel, and I do feel that Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that I feel like it could have gone on a couple of years longer before the company decided to make a sequel to the game. But I'm just curious on what to expect from this upcoming sequel because they could do so many things with it. Like, they could do what was done with Mass Effect with with the decisions and the choices you made carrying over to the next game. That was something that I think made Mass Effect memorable, and it's something that that you don't see too often in RPGs, where like the decisions you made and the multiple endings like carry over into the next game. Incorporating that into like the sequel to this game, I think would be something that would catch people's attention. I think a lot of I guess the toughest thing or the biggest challenge for CD Projekt Red in relation to this sequel would be what the story is going to be, what features can they modify to make the gameplay experience greater than what they got with Cyberpunk 2077, and I guess additional classes and stuff like that are all like challenges and stuff like that with CD Projekt Red. But I do feel that Cyberpunk 2077 is definitely going to be like considered one of the most popular games of the 2020s decade. And as far as a sequel for this game is concerned, I have no idea whether or not it's even going to be released in this generation in relation to gaming, because like we're in like PS5, Xbox Series X generation, and those game consoles are not exactly old. They came out in late 2020, and pretty much it's like I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to come out for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. We had no idea that by the time the game came out, it was going to be the same year as when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X was released. So hopefully it's not going to be one of those cases where by the time the sequel for Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, Sony is going to be releasing the PlayStation 7 or whatever, because that's going to be absurd. And I do feel like by that time people are really not going to care as much. But, it seemed like history says otherwise, because the first time they did it with this game, and I guess and they didn't necessarily skip a generation, because Cyberpunk 2077 came out for the PS4 and the Xbox One as well. But the thing is, people had to wait way longer than they expected for this title to be released worldwide, and hopefully we don't get deja vu with the sequel, and hopefully this game doesn't constantly get pushed back and remain in developmental hell for damn near a decade, because that's just something that really just pisses people off in general, especially nowadays, because when it comes down to RPGs and stuff like that, it's way more competitive now than it was about a decade ago. But I do feel that the anticipation really helped the overall sales and popularity and the success of Cyberpunk 2077. Unfortunately, it just came out during a bad year, but it does seem like that this game is probably the most popular RPG out there, depending on who you ask. And hopefully, we'll learn more about the sequel between this year and 2024.